Years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King, quoting a much earlier preacher, said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." I believe that is true, and I believe that folks like you and me and others have to help that arc bend towards justice. I'm John Graham. It's my privilege to serve the people of Jackson County, Alabama, as one of their circuit judges. I stand in a long and unbroken line of judges who have served our state and county since 1819. And among those judges, Judge Alfred Hawkins, my predecessor in this office, who presided over the Scottsoboro Boys trials in 1931. I wanted to talk to you just a moment about some people on that occasion who helped the arc of the moral universe bend toward justice. I suppose that first and foremost among them was Sheriff Matt Wan. Sheriff Wan was the top law enforcement agent in the county at the time, and he, rather than let the 9 Scottsoboro defendants be lynched by a mob that had gathered outside the jail, called the governor, had the governor send in the National Guard, and secreted the Scottsoboro Boys out the back door of the jail and took them to Gadsden, where they were put in jail and held there, literally while the mob was at the front door. A year later in the election, Sheriff Wan lost his job as sheriff. He continued as a deputy sheriff, and sometime not very long after that, he was shot and killed in the line of duty. Many people believe that Sheriff Wan lost the election because of his protecting the Scottsoboro Boys from the mob. Many other people also believe that Sheriff Wan lost his life because of his heroic actions that night in April 1931 when he acted to save the 9 Scottsoboro defendants. Things were tense in Scottsoboro that first night. A mob had gathered, and it was more than a little frightening, I'm sure, for the Scottsoboro defendants. Judge James Money was the probate judge, and he had the only telephone in the courthouse, which was in his office. He and Sheriff Wan and maybe others went to use his telephone in the probate office in order to call the governor to deploy the National Guard. Judge Money did this at risk to himself and to his political career as well. Another first night hero, as I call them, was a young Methodist minister who was new in Scottsoboro. He addressed the crowd in front of the jail, invited them to prayer, and attempted to calm the angry mood, the hostile mood, the lynch mob mood of the people who were gathered there. At some point early in the events of March 1931, the 2 women who had accused the Scottsoboro Boys, Ruby Bates and Victoria Price, were taken to see a physician, Dr. Marvin Lynch. Dr. Marvin Lynch was new in town, and he examined them. Later, he went to Judge Horton during the second trials, which were held in Decatur, Alabama, and told Judge Horton no rape had occurred. There were no signs of forcible intercourse, no signs of rape, and that while a microscopic examination determined that there were spermatozoa inside the 2 women, the sperm were dead, indicating that they had been deposited at least 24 hours before the 2 of them had been examined by him. One of the girls admitted that they had had intercourse the night before with their boyfriends in Chattanooga. Dr. Lynch was certainly one of the heroes who put himself and his family and his livelihood at risk in order to tell the truth. Those are just a few of the people who stood up, stepped outside their comfort zone, if you will, and who helped the moral arc of the universe bend toward justice in the Scottsoboro Boys cases. At the end of the day, the rule of law prevailed. None of the Scottsoboro defendants were executed, although they all suffered greatly and lost years of their life in prison and otherwise. I believe that it is incumbent upon every one of us who work in the judicial system and those of us who aspire to work in the court system and the judicial system, and those of us who are just ordinary citizens, it is incumbent upon all of us to grab that moral arc by the tail and help it bend towards justice.